Liverpool's golden boy just got hit with the worst news possible. After months of building toward what seemed like the perfect fight to launch him into title contention, Paddy Pimblett's championship dreams might have just been crushed by one devastating ultimatum from Justin Gaethje. The fight world exploded this week when Gaethje's manager Ali Abdelaziz dropped an absolute bombshell during a radio interview. The veteran lightweight isn't just frustrated with UFC matchmaking anymore, he's ready to walk away from everything if he doesn't get what he feels he's earned. He said, "If I'm not going to fight for the title, I'm just going to hang up my gloves," Abdelaziz revealed, speaking for his fighter who's apparently reached his breaking point. "I love the UFC, but I feel the UFC has to love me back." This isn't some negotiation tactic or empty threat. Sources close to Gaethje confirm he's dead serious about retirement if the UFC doesn't grant him the next title shot, following the upcoming lightweight championship bout between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira at UFC 317. At 36 years old, with a career built on violent wars and championship near misses, Gaethje apparently sees this as his final stand. The message is crystal clear: give him the title shot he believes he's earned, or lose one of the most exciting fighters in the sport forever. But here's where it gets brutal for Paddy Pimblett. The Liverpool sensation had been eyeing Gaethje as his perfect next opponent, the gateway fight that would guarantee him a title shot. Pimblett wasn't shy about it either, telling TNT Sports just weeks ago, "I know for a fact if I beat Gaethje, I'm next in line. Definitely." He even had the timeline mapped out, targeting an October showdown in Abu Dhabi that would position him perfectly for a championship fight. Now that dream scenario is crumbling before his eyes, Gaethje's ultimatum effectively eliminates any possibility of fighting down the rankings, which means no Pimblett payday and no clear path to gold for the Brit. The timing couldn't be worse for Pimblett, who just delivered the performance of his career. At UFC 314 in April, he didn't just beat Michael Chandler, he dismantled one of the sport's most respected veterans with a technical knockout that left the MMA world stunned. This wasn't some lucky shot or controversial decision. Pimblett systematically broke down a former title challenger who had gone toe-to-toe with the division's elite for years. The Chandler victory was Pimblett's coming-out party, the moment he transitioned from entertaining prospect to legitimate contender. UFC CEO Dana White was clearly impressed, admitting it was tough to doubt the Liverpudlian after such an emphatic performance in a pay-per-view co-main event. 7 straight UFC wins, multiple performance bonuses, and now a signature victory over a big name. Pimblett had built the perfect resume for a high-stakes eliminator bout. Even more impressive was how Pimblett handled the moment. This wasn't the wild, emotional fighter who used to throw hand sanitizer bottles at rivals. The man who finished Chandler showed calculated aggression, technical brilliance, and the kind of composure that champions possess. He looked ready for the sport's biggest stage. But Gaethje's frustration runs deeper than most fans realize. The Arizona native has been the UFC's most reliable soldier for years, stepping up whenever the promotion needed someone to save a card or deliver fireworks. He's earned fight or performance of the night bonuses in 12 of his 14 UFC appearances. When other fighters pull out injured or demand perfect circumstances, Gaethje shows up ready to bleed. The numbers tell the story of a fighter who's given everything to the sport: 3 wins in his last 4 fights, including a revenge victory over former champion Dustin Poirier that earned him the BMF title, multiple short-notice appearances that saved major events, 2 previous title shots where he came up short against all-time greats in Khabib Nurmagomedov and Charles Oliveira. Now, at 36, watching younger fighters potentially leapfrog him for opportunities he feels he's already earned. Abdelaziz's comments reveal just how deeply this frustration cuts. "He doesn't feel the love right now," the manager explained, describing Gaethje as feeling disrespected by the UFC's recent matchmaking decisions. "It's the sentiment of a fighter who's sacrificed his body and shortened his career for moments that never came, watching as the sport he served faithfully seems ready to move past him. The lightweight division has never been more chaotic. Current champion Islam Makhachev shocked everyone by vacating his title to chase welterweight gold, creating the vacant championship bout between Topuria and Oliveira that has everyone's attention. Topuria himself made waves by abandoning his featherweight throne after devastating knockouts of Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway, betting everything on lightweight success. This title picture shakeup was supposed to create opportunities for fighters like Pimblett and Gaethje. Instead, it's created a traffic jam of elite contenders, all fighting for position. Charles Oliveira gets his shot despite coming off a loss to Makhachev earlier this year. Topuria jumps divisions and immediately gets a title fight. Meanwhile, fighters who've been grinding in the lightweight division find themselves fighting for scraps. The UFC 317 bout between Topuria and Oliveira on June 28th now carries extra weight. Whoever emerges as champion will face immediate pressure to choose their first defense carefully. With Gaethje demanding his shot and other contenders circling, the new champion's decision could reshape multiple careers. For Pimblett, this represents a crushing setback to carefully laid plans. The 30-year-old Brit had mapped out his path to gold with mathematical precision. Beat Gaethje in October, secure the title eliminator victory that would guarantee championship gold, then ride that momentum to become the UK's first UFC lightweight champion. It was a perfect strategy that accounted for every variable except Gaethje's breaking point. Now Pimblett faces a dilemma that could define his career. Wait for the Gaethje situation to resolve itself, potentially missing months of prime fighting years? Accept a fight against a lower-ranked opponent that wouldn't guarantee a title shot? Or gamble on the UFC offering him something unexpected after his Chandler performance? The Liverpool star has other options, though none as appealing as the Gaethje fight. He's mentioned the possibility of fighting Ilia Topuria directly if the Georgian-Spanish fighter becomes champion, banking on their genuine animosity from a heated 2022 altercation. It'd be far better for my career if Ilia wins because I'd more than likely be his first title defense, Pimblett admitted, showing he's already thinking beyond the Gaethje roadblock. That confrontation between Pimblett and Topuria 3 years ago was genuinely hostile, involving thrown objects and thrown punches that went viral across social media. The bad blood is real, which could translate to massive pay-per-view numbers if they ever share the octagon. But betting everything on Topuria winning and calling him out is exactly that, a massive gamble. The broader implications stretch throughout the entire lightweight division. If Gaethje follows through on his retirement threat, one of the sport's most exciting fighters disappears from the landscape. That could open doors for other contenders, but it also removes one of the biggest name-value opponents available for rising stars like Pimblett. Meanwhile, fighters like Arman Tsarukyan, who was originally scheduled for a title shot before pulling out on short notice, find themselves in similarly complicated positions. The lightweight rankings become even more meaningful when title shots are limited and veteran fighters start walking away. This situation perfectly illustrates the brutal reality of championship-level MMA. Years of work, perfect timing, and career-defining performances can all become irrelevant because of one fighter's ultimatum. Pimblett did everything right, stayed active, built his name value, delivered spectacular finishes, and earned his shot at the elite level. Yet forces completely outside his control threaten to derail everything he's built. The next few weeks will reveal whether this is just another obstacle for Pimblett to overcome, or the moment his title timeline gets pushed back indefinitely. Either way, the kid from Liverpool, who's never had a normal job, will need to adapt his championship plans to a landscape that just shifted dramatically beneath his feet. In a sport where windows of opportunity close without warning, that adaptation might determine whether Paddy Pimblett ever gets to call himself champion.